Welcome and thank you everyone for joining us for another Twitter Space. Today is September 12th, 2022, and this is episode 40 of the ledgerscale Internet of Value Open Forum. Now, ledgerscale Foundation was founded with two goals in mind. One, we want to provide educational services to not only our community, but to the entire digital asset community, and to help scale up the number of brains that understand how distributed ledger technology works. And two, we intend to one day run hardware to provide infrastructural support to the distributed ledger technology networks that we believe are ESG friendly and running a form of decentralized consensus. Now, we host these spaces Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, starting at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. And on Wednesday, we host a focus topic space from 5 to 6 Eastern Standard Time. And if I could just ask if everyone could give us a follow on Twitter at ledgerscale, turn those notifications on so you know when we're going live. And as well, if I could ask if everyone at the bottom could hit that little bubble and give us a like and a retweet to the space so that hopefully other people in the future can find this information valuable. Oh, and it already looks like Twitter is already having some sort of problems today. All right. Hopefully that worked. I know Karma's excited for today because he wants to talk about the AMM. He's been keeping information from us. I don't know if Twitter's not letting him up.
Just real quick, Def, before y'all get started, because I don't like to be a distraction. Can you hear me?
It's a little hard, but yeah, I hear you.
Is that a little better?
Yeah, for a lot better. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah, I spent a lot of time over here in Karma coverage, so just for the record, man, does anybody in this particular room have the impression that I, or even this space in general, has a general dislike or hate for NFTs?
Do you? I'm sorry. What was it? Do you have a dislike? Are you asking if we feel like you do?
Correct.
Well, I mean, I don't think you have a dislike for NFTs. I think you don't really favor the art stuff, but I think that's two different things.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I want to just go ahead and get the facts on the record why some people are very much trying to mischaracterize my sentiment towards them, right? So yeah, y'all can continue on, man. I just wanted to get that out real quick.
Yeah, and I kind of listen. I'm not far off from the way you feel, right? Like I'm like, ooh, an NFT art, yay! I kind of it's the buzz, right? It was a marketing thing. I think it's a big cultural movement for sure. You can go back to like the Renaissance, right? And so like even had like weird art that kind of like inspired. You could say the the maybe the mindset for a lot of people back then. And so I think it's more so that than anything else. But definitely I definitely look forward to the future of what NFTs will provide. I don't really look too much towards like what's going on now as the viable option behind the longevity of NFT.
Yeah, thank you, man. Like I said, I don't want it to be a distraction, but the person is in the space, and so I wanted them to hear from themselves, from an objective group of people, that the way that they're trying to mischaracterize my sentiment is just totally off base. So yeah, y'all can continue on.
Is this thing working now? No.
I can hear you. You're good.
Yeah, you're working good.
Oh, it is working?
There you go.
It is working, yeah.
Yeah, and I would always say, hate is a very, it's I think it's thrown out of proportion when people use the word hate. Hate is a very hard, very it's a very serious word, and I don't think you have any hate towards anything in the crypto space.
I don't know. Why would anybody hate an NFT? It's just a representation of a thing.
That's a guy. Yeah. You took the words out of my mouth.
It's like, what am I going to like hate my couch or something? Like, it's a thing. It's just a thing.
Yeah.
And I hate that banana. It's just a banana.
Right. Like because if it was in the context of like how NFTs are used today, like, I dislike the way that the NFTs are mostly used today because of the aspect of how there's just been a lot of people that have been taken advantage of because of it, unfortunately. And so, but I think it leads to more things in the future that will transpire and be in the right and lead to good and more efficient things for humanity. So, the longevity kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point. Like, I have been publicly critical at certain times, right? But I think a lot of my criticisms were about, the particular use cases or schemes, or et cetera, around the NFTs. Wasn't the concept of the NFTs themselves, right? And if I'm, erred in my criticism, then I'm open to like being corrected, right? I'm not somebody who thinks that I know everything in this space, but I think a lot of my potential criticisms have been valid criticisms. But again, I may not see myself the way that others see people. So if anybody thinks otherwise, I'm open to conversation.
To be honest, Cash, there is no right or wrong in all of this. Is everyone has their opinion, and it's just a matter of arguing and having just a conversation about it and finding maybe common ground, right? I mean, it's the same with Rippleton. Like when we talked with him, and he says, he doesn't like he doesn't like tokens, right? Because he says it's extracting just value and all that. It's totally fine. It's his opinion. You got to respect people for their opinion. And I took the opposite part, opposite there, and said, hey, yeah, I see that, but I also see that the other stuff that you maybe missed in your argument. I mean, it's just a conversation, and there's no right or wrong, because it's like everything has so many sides to it, and same applies to NFTs. There are many people who are very respectable who say, hey, you know what? I dislike NFTs how, like Death said, basically, I dislike NFTs how they're used right now, but I'm not generally against them, right? And this is totally fine, right? I mean, nobody should change their opinion just because it is not popular within a certain group, right? So that's my opinion.
No, thank you for that bit. Like, what actually kind of started this was, I ran across a tweet where somebody was like, "I told y'all so," in regards to an XRP Ledger NFT project, right? And I simply commented that I think we're still too early for the "I told you so" kind of comments when XLS20 and these NFTs are not actually available yet. So I just don't think that that comment was off base, and that I feel like it is too early. But that's what kind of started it. And again, I stick by my opinion. I think we are still early, and I'm hoping that some of these people come up with good stuff and it is successful. For the record.
Casta, you got hell background noise.
Sorry, I'm done.
I mean, let the stuff develop. This is all, the whole crypto industry is still young. NFTs are younger than the industry at large. Art's sort of a easy, low hanging fruit, so that's kind of first. Other digital content, media and stuff, whatnot, seems to be coming next. A lot of folks seem to be focused on real estate. That's kind of interesting. There's going to be other things that nobody's even talking about yet. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Car titles,
Don't say real estate.
Tickets to events, all kinds of things.
Yeah, OC, thank you for coming up and raising your hand, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just very curious on your trip, Karma, to Vegas. I know we were speaking on, you speaking with David Schwartz about the AMM. So I'm really curious about how that whole thing went down.
As am I. I agree. We should jump into it, Karma.
Yeah, it was really nice to be able to talk to him face to face and like see his hand movements because they actually made sense. And yeah, so where do I start here? So there's a geometric payoff, and by that, what he meant is that in essence, if I understood right, you can make more on the rise than the fall. There's also a trade-off if you're only on one side of the AMM. I'm assuming people have some prerequisite knowledge. If not, stop me and I'll back up. So like let's say you're only on one side of the AMM, like you only put in, currency A or value, whatever, denomination A instead of both A and B. And let's say A goes up, I don't know, 10%. Well, you're not going to go up 10%. You might only go up like 7.5%, 8%. And these numbers are not, I'm just making the stuff up. I'm just trying to explain the dynamics, the market dynamics. So if you're only on one side of the AMM and it goes up, you're not going to experience the full extent of that rise. Now, as I've thought about it, what he didn't say is that you will experience the cash flow gain from the liquidity pool tokens. So you'd probably have to do some experimentation there and see how that balances out. And then, but the same thing's also true. So if the market falls by, say, 10%, your position would only fall by like 7.5%, 8%. So that goes both ways. The difference is the starting point, right? So if you start, what was his example? It was like 100 to 150. So if you start at 100, like value, like just go with dollars, and it goes to 150, okay, that's a 33% gain. Okay, you might only get like a 20% gain if you're only staked on one side. And then, but then let's say, so that would be what, $20? But then if it drops from 150 to 100, that's less than a third loss. Or no, wait, it's a doubling on the way up and a thirding on the way down. So you double your money on the way up, but you only lose a third on the way down. So if you run that across time, he didn't say this, but this is me thinking about it. If you run that across time in like up-down iterations, you gain more on the upswing than you lose on the downswing. But in both swings, either which direction, your returns are muted or repressed compared to if you just owned the asset, whether it's A or B, completely outright. Does that make any sense?
Can you sort of describe sort of like just the definition of AMM and sort of the technicalities behind that?
Well, automated market maker. So basically, it's not exactly an order book. It's like a pool of liquidity between two different assets, and the participants providing the liquidity essentially just agree that whatever the market rate is between, A and B, that's just what it is. So the market rate can change. Presumably, you'd have arbitrageurs that would keep the market in line with the AMM, in line with the external markets, right? So, if A is worth 5B on all these other markets, then the AMM should ultimately yield the price of A is worth 5B, right? The arbitrager should enforce that. The Oh man, the other thing was the volatility. I didn't realize this after having read the thing. So let's say I want to be the arbitrager for the AMM. I have to buy the right to be that arbitrager. Okay, so let's say I'm willing to pay $100. And off of that right, I can arbitrage out, maybe $150 of profit. Well, you come along and you're willing to pay $110, right? And you're only going to get 140 but you're just willing to take a tighter spread. So you outbid me, so I lose my right because there's only, I think it was, what was it, like per 24-hour period or 48-hour period, something like that. So you outbid me. So you buy the arbitrage rights away from me. I can only outbid you to keep them. So from the arbitrager's point of view, what the market mechanisms do is force the arbitrageurs to compete for a tighter and tighter spread. Now that's pretty significant because, like, think about 2008. When you have a market that goes haywire, what happens is the spreads blow out and the market freezes. So to have a mechanism there that encourages the arbitrageurs to compete for tighter and tighter spreads, like not all market participants benefit from that tighter spread. So that's pretty significant. And I didn't pick that up when I read through the paperwork. I just didn't pick up on that. There's a couple other things too.
Cool. And how's the whole Vegas trip? How's like the whole experience, the whole Apex convention?
Oh, it was great, man. It was really nice to see, and some of them were in here earlier. I think they've left, but it was really nice to see some of these folks and like shake their hand, look them in the eye. Like it's like, hi, I'm a human. Like I've been talking to some of these guys for years, like some of them almost 10 years, 5 years at least.
I'm glad you went there because I remember like a week prior to the event you were like struggling. Should I go? Should I not go?
No, it was a good thing. It was nice to go and see people, and it's not like I personally ever thought any of these people were like not real. I mean, I've met several people from the XRP community in person and spoke to them on the phone and video chat, but still, it's nice I've never gone to a situation where there was a bunch of people who all actually understood what the hell was going on, because that's a hurdle. Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool. I'm glad I went. And it was nice to like see, because like, you know, people could circle up and it was like everybody kind of knew what was going on. It wasn't, you know, like one person that knew what was going on and everybody else was like, what is this guy talking about? I mean, I've done that.
By the way, Karma, did Nick Bogales also go there? I doubt, right?
I didn't see him.
Too bad, because he lives there, but he seems to be very private. So interesting. Yeah.
He might have been there and I just didn't see him. I know DAI and what's the other guy? Digital Perspectives. They were both there, but I didn't see them or anything.
Any influencers have any crowds around them?
I don't know, man. I mean, I was just talking to anybody and everybody. Like, it was just nice to be around a bunch of people that actually knew what the hell was going on.
I thought Oklo will also be there because it's like not too far away from you, right? We're probably busy with work and all that.
Well, I'm going to go back to the AMM thing. The other thing that he was explaining was that the volatility, and, you know, that's how, if you're the person that owns the rights to arbitrage for that period of time, you know, the volatility is where you make your money. But then the higher the volatility, the more somebody's going to be willing to bid to play that volatility, because the more volatility, the more profit they can make, the higher they can pay for the right to sort of, you know, supply the liquidity to accommodate the volatility. Just after I was talking to David, the market dynamics kind of settled in a little better. Certainly better than just after having read it. And I need to reread it again. And he explained it in two ways, and then said there's a third way, but you got to know like differential calculus and whatever. And I was like, well, pretty sure I did that in school, but it's been a few years. And then we got interrupted again, and we just kept getting interrupted. People wanted to take pictures with him and stuff.
Did you understand from him what? I mean, it's tough to say, probably, but what's the time frame that he was bringing up for the amendment?
I want to say
100.
that he said something that surprised me in terms of how quick it was.
Quarter.
When, but I was a little surprised at how soon that he was thinking.
Yeah, I think I saw testing will be very soon, like October or something, to be able
that's
to test
next
it.
month.
Yeah, I mean, to test it out.
He was speaking at Apex, he said Q4 they're going to release the amendment to be voted on.
Oh wow, nice.
When was that?
I was while they were recording him speaking at Apex.
What date though? Did you say?
Q4.
Q4, yeah, of this year. Doesn't mean it gets voted in this year, but maybe towards the end of the year, it gets released as a vote.
Do you guys think it'll get more momentum faster compared to XLS 20, being the different amendment?
Well, XLS 20 is a new object on the database. The AMM is a new method of connecting liquidity or creating liquidity. How do you say that?
Right, but my question is, do you think the validators will sort of react to
Yes.
vote on that
Yes.
quicker?
See, Bet says yes, and it's a good question, and I don't think so. I think it'll still take, once it's released, that's why I said if they release the amendment Q4 at the end of the year, I still think it probably takes a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier to say it's sooner than XLS 20 because we don't know when this would come out, right? I mean, last year in May, they pushed out the code. It's basically the same. At the same time, they want to have it. Oh no, they pushed it like no, sorry. When did they push out with the AMM? I think it was in July. And last year in May they put out the XLS 20, and we still don't have XLS 20. So worst case, probably not even 2023. Like that would be worst case if we would have the same um, path as XLS 20, which I doubt. I mean, it's I think XLS 20 is a bit more unique with the stuff that happened. Maybe, I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, we didn't have that many amendments at the scale of XLS 20.
But see, XLS 20 is a whole new object. The AMM is basically an arrangement of existing functionality plus this liquidity pool token, but even the liquidity pool token is not like a new type of object. It's just an issued asset from a black hole account. If I'm understanding it right.
Yeah, for me, it's where I did raise my eyebrows is the thing is pathfinding. Pathfinding is all it seems to be. I have no idea. I'm absolutely not into that. But pathfinding seems to be a bit more delicate, and you got to be careful how you handle things. And XS 20 was messing with it. Also, quite a bit on the server side, on the node side. So not directly with XS 20, but it was affecting the nodes who handle all that. So that's to be seen. I mean, that's to be seen, and also the whole ramifications around. I mean, we talked, I think, about this also this morning. Um, the ramifications around the automated market maker with what David Schwartz said. Please confirm, you guys who also were listening to or watching the live stream, the opening live stream of Apex with David Schwartz, where he was saying that they wanted to have it on a side chain, so it is not affecting the main chain as in its payment, capabilities and all that. So, when I hear about this, then I immediately think, okay, there's a lot of preparation that needs to go in there. Like, I would assume that the test net where the automated market maker is going to, supposed to be going live on, is probably already a very solid one, because if they want to have it on a sidechain, maybe they're just going to use that test net then to build or expand it to make it more, usable as a sidechain, and to transact with the main chain. I mean, this is a whole new dynamic. I cannot think of one case where we have. We don't have this right now, where we can act with a sidechain that is very similar to the XRPL. I don't include all these bridges and all that because for me this is just rebranding. Because sidechain, everything is a sidechain if you just have a bridge to it. But if you have like the federators, the federated sidechain, this is something new, the dynamic. Like having this kind of constellation. So I'm very excited about this. How everything around this AMM is gonna work. Personally.
Sorry, I just had a customer email me. I must have missed the sidechain part because I was listening to everything thinking AMMs were on main chain or mainnet or whatever the hell you want to call it, XRPL.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that right because and that I can everyone can go back and listen. It's on the XRPL I think Foundation YouTube channel. The opening speech, I think in the first 15 minutes or so, he was talking about this, or I don't know, but it was definitely in it, and he was very clear about having it on a side chain because he was saying on the main chain it would be not good because it's affecting payments and they don't want to ruin that. They don't want to ruin that, which is exciting and
Wonder if-
reasonable.
I wonder if I wonder I wonder if by not having it on the main chain, if you somehow preserve the commercial banks, the correspondent banks, the money center banks, preserve their role because they're effectively side chains, right? I'll have to think about that. I
I
could
mean,
see.
there are a lot of questions that come with this because, as I said, we don't have a federated sidechain yet, not to my knowledge. Like a live one, you can right now transact with it, maybe like in a lab or something, but um, we don't have this, and this brings like a lot of new dynamic to it, which may all that stuff, which may lead to delaying the actual amendment. So in this case, I may have to revisit my assumption that it get passed through, or my guess rather, get passed through faster than XS20 because there are so many other parts besides the actual automated market maker. You know, I mean, how would that work? Like, just I mean, are you voting? Like, this is something you guys see. Like, I have no clue as well. Um, are people voting on the main chain for something that it gets enabled on a side chain? I mean, this is, I don't know.
If the side chain has code that needs to interact with the main chain and that code does not exist on the main chain, that would be the only reason
Gotcha.
you would
Okay.
mention. But if you had a side chain that really could do what you needed to do from the API of the XRP ledger already, then and
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I see a lot of modifications probably needed on the main chain side, obviously, in terms of hardware. I don't know. I mean, I'm excited, but at the same time, also like a lot of question marks.
yeah, I'm still more excited for Evernode than anything else, to be honest.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah.
how do we get to Evernode? We need XLS 20D and we need hooks amendment.
Hooks. Yeah, hooks. Yeah, I'm definitely. Yeah, I'm also very excited about Evernote together with Scott Chamberlain. I think. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And Richard.
Richard, the mind behind hooks. So I think you said something before though, and I caught just this for a second. So they said the proposed amendment for the AMM would be on a sidechain.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I caught, and I'm surprised that you guys didn't caught it. It was in the live stream in the opening keynote of David Schwartz when he went over basically everything XS20 hooks, and then he went on automated market maker, and at the end of it, like he just presented the key, like the bullet point, and he was like saying, hey, when are we gonna expect testing amendment? And then he said they want to have it on the side chain because to not affect the payments on the main chain. And when I heard this, I was, because I can I think I messaged some friends, and I was like, hey, did you hear about this? It's exciting. I mean, I didn't knew it's gonna be on a side chain and all that. um
I
yeah.
don't go back and double check it because I think he said that you could do it on a sidechain if you wanted to. I'm not sure he said it would be because I don't understand why we would need Why would there need to be some sort of consensus vote if it was off chain?
Yeah, this is why I said, you know, like how are you gonna vote for it? Like it's weird to me.
Yeah, and then it would
Yeah, it's weird to me.
be all right. So what is its standard? Is it being written in C++, or is it being written in like EVM, like Solidity smart contract? Because then you would use Evernote.
I think it's just I think that sidechain would be just an exact copy of the XRPL. So in C++, just added with the automated market maker, basically.
Interesting.
I will see if I can find the snippet and then maybe I can post it.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if they posted the Apex clips yet.
Oh right, there was a live stream, but it was not recorded or something, right?
Yeah, I couldn't get back
It
to
was
it.
very weird. Like, oh god, XRPL Foundation, what you do?
Yeah, I don't know. They like to double check things.
Yeah, sorry because I know it's a little loud, but no, the last thing I saw, the idea for the what used to be called federated side chains is a code change for the core ledger. They've since changed it from federated side chain to a new concept that he's calling a witness. And so you can kind of read all the documentation or the little bit of documentation that David kind of published in regards to that. But it is, to my understanding and reading it, a change to the core ledger and not the inefficiencies that he was talking about, that Bed is talking about, I believe, was in regards to the EVM side chain that they are talking about developing as well.
I mean, I'm pretty sure what it was, like that he mentioned this the AMM together with the sidechain. Because when I was listening live to it, I messaged a couple of people, and I think I even messaged you guys, like Death and um. So I mean, yeah. Now I think if nobody else did caught it, then maybe I you know I listened or I you know heard it wrong.
Well, we'll definitely see because if it's whenever it's proposed, we'll know at least for sure. I'm sure we could go ask actually. Also, I'm sure somebody will have an answer.
Yeah, taking David Schwartz and hey David, tell us.
I just may do that.
Yeah.
By the way, anybody in the audience, if you guys have any questions, anything that you've been thinking about that you want to ask about anything in this space regarding digital assets or anything NFTs, CBDCs, you name it, Flare, XRP, please feel free to come up, hit the request, and feel free to also write a question in the bottom right if you can't come up and would like to have a question answered.
Yeah, and I didn't get a chance to say this earlier, but if you've got a question about something, I guarantee you somebody else does. So please speak up. There's no stupid questions. So yeah, just speak up and ask, and just as long as you do, be cordial. And I think at some point here we're gonna have to drop off the YouTube. So if there's folks on the YouTube that are not on Twitter listening live, you might want to jump over to Twitter at some point. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be cutting the YouTube stream off at 1:30. But I did have a question in regards to the validators. So I was actually very surprised that we were reaching close to 100% when it came to the XLS 20 amendment. I'm not sure if maybe you know which ones were the ones that didn't vote. Um, I'm just curious about that.
Oh, I don't know. I think two didn't, and those two. I mean, without even looking, right? Without even looking, I know that there are 2 validators. I'm pretty sure they are the ones who didn't vote. Who are, I'm hesitant to say problematic, but they are not up to the standard, I would say, that the UNL would want to have for all its validators. Those are, on top of my head, I think this is the Indian validator. It's called IR for whatever, something with IR, but it's definitely with .in domain. And the other one is maybe it's data 433 or something. One of this, but you can see them because they are on an old version of Ripple D. I think they still are, and yeah. I mean, those 2 are. I mean, I'm pretty sure they will get removed eventually, because they seem to be abandoned or so. I have no idea. Like they not even the people are who are in charge for those lists, the XRPL Foundation and Ripple and Coil. To my knowledge, could be wrong. Obviously, I'm not in that circle. They not even them. They can get their hands on those guys, which is appreciate. And you saw this with what happened. I mean, yesterday. They discussed the manner and everyone was looking into. There's a call to everyone on the UNL. Hey, there's an issue. You are required to act, and it's formalized in the sense of, hey, look into it and vote, or basically decide if you're gonna withdraw your vote, yes or no. It's not, they don't tell you, because some people think, hey, Witze went ahead, and everyone was saying, oh yeah, Witze went ahead, yeah, then we're gonna pull as well. It's more like, hey, this is the issue, go to GitHub, because this is what they also required from Mike. Check yourself. They said, hey Mike, can you put like a GitHub issue, make one, and everyone can look into it. They looked into it and they said, hey, you know what, we have to look into it. Actually, we need time. But if you just have like less than 2 days for XS20 to get activated, but you need time to look into it, you would, in my opinion, they probably would have vetoed anyway, just to buy some time to look into it actually and to see what's up. So they vetoed then after they already kind of checked out. Yeah, this is worth to defend a veto, and they did this. But yeah, two, I think they still. I mean, they're gonna be removed anyway. I'm not sure or whatever, but I mean they get blocked. And Alloy was saying, whoever gets blocked, amendment blocked, is gonna be removed from the list. So if they get blocked, they get removed. And I think that's a call, right?
So I guess they're getting removed from the list, but every validator has their own list. So how do you think each one's sort of gonna react to that happening? Are they gonna keep them up there, or you think it's gonna be a slow response? I know, Red, you've had your hand up. Last question, sorry.
Yeah, it's a good question, but the thing is, this is what many people were criticizing, is now many benefiting, is everyone, or pretty much all of the validators, have the same list. So you have the list of Coil and XRP Foundation and Ripple, and those validators who are on this list are the same. So when they change the list, so when XRPL Foundation, in that sense, changed the list, Ripple and Coil very likely also gonna change it, because they see the same. I think it's not just because they copy each other; it's just because they have the same standard, and I mean, it's very
it's a
obvious.
smart consensus that people come to.
Exactly, and when they remove it, then for my validator, it gets also these 2 validators also get just removed. So I personally don't have to do anything. I just have to be online.
Cool, thank you.
And thank you very much, Vet, for explaining that so well. Crypto Red Eye, man, thank you for raising your hand. Go ahead.
For sure, for sure. What's up, everybody? I'm just curious, what direction do you guys think we should go with the metadata, as far as on the NFTs, like XLS, the XLS 24, the like Ethereum based data, or the library way? I heard a few devs talking the other day about creating libraries to be like more interoperable. I kind of like that option, even though it'll be a little more work, but I do. I'm just curious on your thoughts.
I saw your post. I don't know if maybe somebody can explain sort of how the libraries work, but I mean, my sort of perspective when it came to XLS 24 and the, I guess, IRC 20 standard on OpenSea. Um, I think if we just, put in the work now and have that extra information, I think in the long term, in the long run, especially now that we really have to wait, probably a couple more months for XLS 20, I really think we should put in that groundwork in the beginning and include it. I think the more the merrier, even though obviously there's some trade offs.
At the same time, I kind of like the aspect of leaving it very, very undone, right? And so that people maybe coming in the future have the ability to choose what they want to do. And so that's why I like that XLS 24 because it gives the option to have different means of storage of where you're storing your file. And so I don't know. I think keeping open, but making it easy to adhere to a standard is probably what would be the most important. But Dion, also thank you for coming up and raising your hand, man. If you have a question, go ahead.
Yeah.
Long time no see.
Hey, Vet, how's it? Yeah, it's been
Hey.
ages, man. How you doing?
I'm fine, man. How about you?
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm having a bit of
Good.
a rough time in South Africa, but everyone around the world is, so yeah. Anyways, I have a question about XLS 30. I'm very excited for that. I've been following it and trying to piece it together. It's more of a practical question, though. Is anybody thinking about making a very, if I can say, user-friendly kind of interface to do the AMM deposit and withdraw transactions and all these things? Something that would like integrate with like a Sologenic tool or a XRP toolkit, something like that. Because I'm sure a lot of people that would want to, I mean myself, for example, that would want to interact with the new thing. We don't, I mean, I don't use the ledger in code script language. I use it on interfaces.
Yeah, and so you bring up a very good observation of something that I don't know of anybody doing yet. Although there's a guy in the community, and his name is Mike. Check yourself with X tokenized, and he's building tools for the XRP ledger to make accessing the API information a lot easier. And so I could definitely see that as something maybe that he I don't want to put probably shouldn't put anything on him, but I could definitely see someone like him doing something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's a vacuum that will get filled eventually. I just think it's something that if we want to get maximum participation, because the whole system really does rely on participation, we need to bring that barrier to entry down.
Yeah, and if somebody's listening to the space right now and you have developer ability, I mean that's a great concept to write up a white paper and send to try and get a grant from Ripple right now to start building. So that is I'm glad you brought that up. It's actually something I haven't thought about.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I wish I had the coding knowledge to do that sort of thing, but yeah.
I don't know if Karma maybe ran into somebody at Apex. Karma, are you there?
He must be in the loo.
It could be also just Twitter glitching. It's been pretty bad today, honestly. Um,
Yeah, I've also noticed that.
but I wanted to ask that before, Vet. How did you feel about what I thought about the metadata standard for the XLS 20? Do you think because I saw them talking in the chat, right, and I liked the idea of keeping it as open to be in one direction or another for the metadata standard that somebody might want to use.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, like, everyone hates each other. I mean, I can tell everyone hates each other for that. Yeah, metadata. Like it's like worse than politics. Not gonna lie.
Well, everybody just wants to conform to the OpenSea, right? Biggest part.
Yeah. I mean, see, with people, or like in general with projects, they look at Exodus 24 at the GitHub and they say, "I'm overwhelmed. It's a lot. It's big. I don't know what to do. Is there something straightforward?" And there is a minimal spec stated in there, but it seems still to be a bit too much in the sense of how it described. Like it's just an explanation thing. It's not user friendly in that sense. And what everyone has to keep in mind with this is with the metadata standard or metadata in general, you need, or at least to have a minimal spec that everyone agrees on, and everything beyond it is fine. So if we say, hey, an NFT needs to have a name and a path to IPFS and maybe attributes, okay? So for images in that sense, or music, I don't know how attributes would work there, but you can put something into it. I don't know, but you need to have a minimal spec that every single metadata has. Okay, this is the base, and everything you add on top of it, like it's a description, maybe you add more links to it, maybe you add your license, what is it, pointing to a contract or whatever. This is just on top of it, and this does not have to be agreed on. This is good because you cannot agree on everything. You just have to agree on a minimal, and this minimal, the base spec, this is still like kind of in discussion. And I think what Mike Check Yourself was saying today in the expector space was very, very good. He was saying that he wants to bring this week a new push to GitHub where he formalizes a metadata standard, which will be the ERC 721 from OpenSea, just added with some useful fields, I guess, how he described it, which is, for example, because one thing that for sure I agree on that has to be included, in my opinion, is at least one field where you can see what type it is, the NFT type. So that when you have a marketplace, which not only consists of images, but also music, that you can really distinct them, between each other. So that you can have a tab where you have only music and one with only images. But if you don't have a field that it says what it is, it's very difficult for a marketplace to see like what is it actually, because just from the name or from the IP, like you can come up with AI, or it's too much. You just want to have one field where it says what it is actually, so you can categorize it, and that makes it easy. So basically, name. I would personally say a name, a path to IPFS, maybe attributes or whatever it is. You can put there that it describes a bit near, or more in detail, and the type. So this would be the minimal. And if everyone agrees on that, then we already pretty far. And everything beyond it, it's just you don't have to agree with anyone else. And the marketplace also don't have to display it. This is also important because the marketplace will only display at the minimum spec. This is the why it's important to have the minimum spec. So yeah.
So
I want to ask a question about that when somebody's got a gap.
No, I'm sorry. You can go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. I mean, I know very little about metadata in that, but it sounds to me like a kind of classification kind of thinking might come in handy here. You guys need to say whether you think I'm on the right track or not.
You're right on the right track.
Basically,
Yep.
I can see a kind of hierarchical sort of listing playing out, right? So what might be a good plan is to have broad categories for images or videos or real estate or whatever, and then those can subdivide into all the various specifics like JPEGs, PNGs, or whatever. And in those subcategories, perhaps then you can add or remove with amendments down the line if people need to, if new formats pop up and that kind of thing. I don't know, but maybe having a hierarchical sort of two-layered system to organize the metadata might be useful.
I mean, it's exactly how you described, and this is basically XLS24. You basically described XLS24 in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
It's
all right.
it's exactly that approach, how you basically jump from one from one hierarchy to the next, and you kind of take the
it's based on
next step.
similarity, of course.
Yeah, based on similarity. But the thing is with this, sometimes you have to move down the tree, so to speak, until you reach the leaf. And for project, if they look at this, it's like, oh, this is too much decision I have to make. Like, oh, I have to describe it so neat, like so close, in detail. It's kind of too much already, because you decide, is it an image? Yes, it's an image. Okay, where is the schema to that image and all that? And you go further. Okay, it's an image, and where is it located? Is there also like a URL path outside of it? And you can always these yes no questions kind of until you reach the bottom. And the question is, or not a question, but it's basically about the user friendliness. I would say personally, if there would, and this is also the issue, if we would have a generator, if someone would develop a generator like we have on Ethereum, where you can generate NFTs that does the job and uses XLS24 and does a job with answering all these questions just based on the input that you bring in. That would be great. Like if we would, then nobody would question XLS24. I mean, not that people are questioning, but it's just overwhelming for them because they have to do it manually. Like I know many people are using actually tools from Ethereum, and they tweak it so it fits basically the needs for the XRPL. And in most cases, they just stick with what the Ethereum generator is giving them. So it's just the OpenSea one because Ethereum has all these generators, and on the XRPL we don't have any. So this is why many people say, "Hey, can we not just use the OpenSea standard because there's more tools to it? You don't have any tools on the XRPL," and that's the issue.
I see. Okay, so it's more for being able to generate rather than categorize what you already have.
Yeah, I mean exactly. From a project side, they would happily probably to categorize it even more. And for marketplace, it's always good to have a more granular metadata, right? So you can categorize them even more. So you can maybe even categorize between pixel art and all that. So it would be great to do that.
Yeah.
And but it's just about for the project to do it. They are mostly just artists, and I mean even having a good metadata is in most cases a bit difficult if you don't have the tools. And I can speak of Jabzy, for example. Jabzy is using Ethereum tools, which I myself tweak it to make it like I throw all the stuff that he doesn't want, or that it's just too much, or it's just Ethereum stuff, like smart contract functions and all that. I throw everything away, and you just have the metadata there. This is very very much a lot tailored towards Jabzy. It's not unique. It's not universal. If we would have something like this, it would be great. Like this is why he himself also uses basically the ERC 721 OpenSea standard, just slightly tweaked. Because you have hash lips. Like if you talk to people on Ethereum and you mention hash lip, like everyone knows hash lips, or if you know Apsos, the great tools. Like they have tons of videos, like tons of tutorials. Like it's so proof. Everyone can create basically NFTs and metadata and all that stuff because it's so simple. You just download it. It has a nice UI, everything. It's not just a GitHub repo basically where you have to read the code and you have to delete stuff and change stuff and be careful. If we would have something like this on the XRPL, in my opinion, to standardize the metadata would be very very easy, because people will just want to use these tools. they don't care what the metadata actually looks like, and they don't want even to discuss all these fields in detail in most cases, you know. Some yeah, I mean, honestly, some fields, in my opinion, are very questionable if they really have to be included. And sometimes people want to have it, you know, if you want to have a rarity in it, you know, or if you want to have anything else, you can have it, but some other people don't want to have it, and to discuss with them all these matters is a bit difficult. Just have a tool, a nice UI, some tick boxes. This is how you can actually standardize, in my opinion, a metadata very effectively and fast.
So related to that, one thing I've thought about is perhaps, and I think this is maybe why the Ripple guys designed the NFT amendment as it is, sort of open. Perhaps it's better to have a kind of intermediary database where that information is stored. So because I think, you know, when it comes to proposing amendments to the ledger, that's a big process. I mean, obviously we see how long the NFT amendments taking and all the possible ways it can screw up, and that if you were to have an intermediary thing which just read data from the ledger, connected it to an NFT as an intermediary layer, that people would basically go to like your like a one-stop shop to organize all the NFTs, and then that connects to all the marketplaces. But it's not necessarily related directly. It's not on the ledger. I don't know, because then you might be able to have people being able to create their own set of particulars with regards to metadata that they want to select, without having to make amendments to the ledger and things like that. I don't know, like an intermediary, just another layer in the cake, right?
Yeah.
And I just want to say, anybody watching on YouTube, if you want to keep on with the chat, feel free to come over on Twitter and join us. And that maybe I didn't